Hi, and welcome back to the Balanced and Built podcast. My name is Morgan.
My name is Shay.
And today we are talking all about signs and symptoms of hormonal imbalance, how to get less PMS, and how to balance your hormones naturally.
I'm so excited to talk about this episode. I've learned so much from you already on this, and I feel like in every episode I always am able to get a little bit more information from you about these types of things. So I'm excited.
My favorite
about
topic.
That. It is. That's why, like we said in the last episode, hormone and not queen. We need like another H. So you guys, we still haven't. Hormone hero. That doesn't sound right.
Why does that sound like masculine?
It does sound very masculine, I think so. All right, well, before we get into this topic, you guys, we do just want to remind you about Morgan's new business adventure. I will let her talk about that, but it is right here.
Yes, thank you. So I just came out with Sacred Skin Tallow. This is a whipped beef tallow lotion. The only ingredients are grass-fed beef tallow and cold-pressed jojoba oil. That's literally it. I created this because I had a lot of struggles trying to find a body lotion that was not filled with fragrance, parabens, synthetic ingredients that are going to disrupt my hormones, and that's perfect for today's episode. So yeah, you can shop. We'll leave the link down below to shop it. It is so moisturizing. Tallow actually has a similar profile to your skin's natural oil, so your skin can easily absorb it. It's really high in vitamins A, D, and K. Super moisturizing, great for winter skin. I get like eczema patches on the backs of my arms I mentioned in the last video, and this is the only thing that helps. And it's great. So it's also a good gift for the holidays coming up. So yeah, we'll leave the link down below.
Awesome. I'm excited. I'm gonna buy some for some people in my life. Well, okay. Well, thank you. I'm excited. I'll give you guys a review when I use it tonight. But I'm definitely gonna buy some for some good stocking stuffers for some people in my life.
It's a perfect stocking stuffer. All right, let's get into our topic. So first, we're gonna talk about the signs and symptoms of hormonal imbalance, and then we'll get into like how to fix that naturally, how to balance, tips and tricks.
I think a lot of women, including myself at one point, thought that some of the ways that I was feeling was just because of something else that wasn't my hormones. Like maybe it was like having a lot of anxiety in the morning and like really, really bad cramps one month, but not the next month. And it's just like, I just thought that those were so random, but I did not realize that there is so many things that are linked to hormonal imbalances until I really started learning more about this. So I think you guys will really like this episode.
100%. Awareness is key. All right, so as we have kind of touched on in previous episodes, women's hormones work like an orchestra. So estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, insulin, and thyroid hormones are all rising and falling at different points in the month or day, depending on where you're at in the cycle or what time of day it is. So different hormones need to peak at the right time in order for things to function optimally, like, for example, getting your period on time, ovulating at the right time, things of that nature. So if your hormones are not doing what they need to do, this can lead to more PMS, such as, irregular, painful periods, mood swings, brain fog, low motivation, poor sleep, intense cravings, acne, bloating, fatigue, headaches, hair loss, and also hair growth in places you don't want it, like mustache area is really common for my PCOS girls. So those are just scratching the surface of the different symptoms, which I'm sure you or someone you know has had or has those symptoms.
Yeah.
It's really common, and like you were saying, these are messages from the body. They're not just like random things popping up. They're literally signals that your body is trying to tell you something, and while they are extremely common, they are not normal, which is something that I just want everyone to hear. Common but not normal.
Well, and that's kind of what I was saying like earlier, right? Is it's like these things happen, but we just think they're happening because they're happening. We're not thinking they're happening because there might be something internal going on with us.
Exactly.
And so that's why I like really love this topic. And like I said, like you said, awareness is key. Like now people know. Oh, and then the thing is when you start becoming aware, then you can start linking things, and then it starts making sense.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. All right, so now that we've kind of talked about what it looks like to have a hormonal imbalance, let's get into the tips for less PMS and more balanced hormones. So some common root causes first of these imbalances are, of course, going to be stress. That's the key to everything. Undereating, overexercising, poor gut health, toxins, birth control, and lack of sleep are most common ones that I see.
Okay.
So I kind of split my tips into 2 areas, nutrition and lifestyle. So first, let's talk about nutrition. We kind of touched on this in our foundational nutrition episode. So if you guys haven't listened to that, I would definitely go back and listen to that. But first is going to be eating protein, fiber, and healthy fats at every meal. This is the formula for a blood sugar balancing meal. Blood sugar is your insulin, so if your insulin is off, that's going to affect your other hormones because, as I said earlier, your hormones are an orchestra working together. So again, protein, healthy fats, and fiber at every meal.
Also, I want to add to that too is making sure you're eating enough. Like I know you touched on under eating can affect it. Yeah. So like in terms of nutrition, this is obviously a very extreme example, but it goes to show that it does affect things. Is a lot of women when they're in bodybuilding prep, they lose their period. So like I lost my cycle. Now I'm working on getting it back. But because my body was lacking in the nutrients and it was very depleted and things like that, my hormones got screwed up. Obviously, my face breaks out when that happens, and then I lost my period. So again, very extreme example, but it just goes to show you, like, if you are under eating or undernourishing, not getting in your proteins, carbs, and fats, it does happen. Like to that extreme where you're losing your period, no, but you're going to see other signs along the way.
Right.
Or maybe you do end up losing your period, depending on where you're at, or if you are in bodybuilding or something. But obviously, we want to avoid that. But
for sure,
it just goes to show you that it is so linked.
Yeah, definitely. And going along with balancing blood sugar, don't skip meals, you guys. Protein every 3 to 4 hours, please. Don't skip
carbs.
Breakfast.
You need carbs too. Please stop. We say it in every episode. Stop skipping your carbs.
Yeah.
Stop doing it.
And then going along with that is eating within 90 minutes of waking up to avoid that blood sugar crash again.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about that because you brought that up in another episode. So when your body wakes up, is your blood sugar high or low?
It's low because it has not eaten.
Okay, so then
8+ hours.
Okay, so that's why you say eat within 90 minutes, so then you can bring the blood sugar back up.
Yes.
So let's say you don't eat within 90 minutes. Then what happens? It just stays low?
Yeah, and that can mess with your hunger throughout the day. It can mess with like energy levels, things like that.
Right.
And also, when you do have your breakfast within 90 minutes of waking, in order to avoid a blood sugar spike, making sure it's balanced with protein, carbs, and fats. If you just have a very carb-heavy meal for breakfast, your blood sugar is going to be spiking.
Yeah.
Of course, which you know.
Right.
So yeah. And then last little nutrition tip. This one is the one I get the most pushback from my clients because it is so hard for a lot of women, but having your caffeine after breakfast, I know it's so hard.
Hold on, that should not be hard. You
Really?
Guys,
I don't think it's hard either, but clients are always like, I need my coffee the first thing in the morning.
No, you need to drink water.
Yeah. Okay, so true. Yeah. Literally.
Get up and drink some water.
I know.
Like whether you drink coffee before or after your breakfast, that doesn't affect how the caffeine's going to affect you. Yeah. It doesn't. Like, I know you want the taste in the morning, but like, get up, drink some hot water, have your breakfast, let your coffee brew while you're eating your breakfast, and then get coffee. Or like, for me, like obviously, a lot of people that listen to this obviously go to work. I'm sorry, something in my eye, but when I get to the office, I get my water, I sit down, I get settled in, I get a couple things done, I go and grab my coffee. I have an electric coffee mug, so it keeps it warm.
Oh, nice.
And so I kind of get it out of the thing, I let it sit there for a little bit, I drink water while I'm doing that. Like normally I'll go through at least 30 ounces of water, and then I will go and eat my meal, come back, and like I'll even drink my coffee with my meal.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like,
fine.
But it's really not that hard, you guys.
Yeah.
Also, too, caffeine is a hunger suppressor. So if you get up and you do drink coffee right away, and then you say that you're not hungry, it's not that your body's not hungry, it's just that the caffeine is suppressing the hunger.
Yes.
So,
and having that caffeine on an empty stomach, the caffeine will spike your cortisol, making you feel more stressed. And if you're someone who...
Anxious too.
Yeah. And if you're someone who puts a lot of sweetener in your coffee and you haven't had a meal before, that is going to spike your blood sugar. So
I mean, yeah, obviously, like literally creams and sugar, it's just straight sugar. So you're going to go from opening your eyeballs to like bang, like having a bag of Skittles. Like that ain't great.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, think about it. You've just been sleeping for however long. Your body is dehydrated, so you do need water, and caffeine is just going to further dehydrate it. So water, breakfast, then caffeine. And also, if you really have a hard time with it, something I tell my clients is to add protein and fats to their coffee. So add a scoop of collagen in your coffee, add some coconut milk that has great healthy fats, and that can kind of help to prevent those spikes, but it's still not what I would recommend.
Yeah, another thing too with the coffee is there's a lot of really good protein brands out there, like Raw Nutrition. Shout out to them. Buff Chick is probably like one of my favorites.
Okay.
They make like protein powder in a way that's specific for your coffee. So they have like different types of flavors that kind of like taste like your favorite creamers. Like they have pumpkin spice, like different, like obviously right now we're shooting this episode around Halloween. So everyone's coming out with their pumpkin spice, but some people have French vanilla and like different types of things. So you can also look at those. Like obviously we've talked in previous episodes, like you want most of your protein coming from your food, but obviously it's good to, have those supplements of the protein, powders once a day. So like you said, if you really do want your coffee in the morning, but you like really can't stay away from it, maybe getting, checking out Buff Chick, Raw Nutrition, putting those in your coffee, collagen, like Morgan said. But yeah, those are two really good brands that I think that theirs tastes like the best. It's actually super good. Sometimes I like crave it.
I'll have to try that.
Super good.
Wait, I don't even drink coffee. What am I saying?
Yeah, you drink matcha. You're a matcha gal.
That just sounded so good, the pumpkin spice.
It is. It's very good. I taste tested it one time at the Arnold. It was so good.
Yum. All right, so that's going to be all my nutrition tips right now for less PMS. So let's get into the lifestyle aspect. So we just did a whole episode on sleep, but I'll touch on it again. Getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep per night is going to help with balancing your hormones and having less PMS.
Question. So when we say balancing hormones, like I'm in marketing, so I love using like buzzwords. And like hormone balance it's not a buzzword because it is a real thing, but like
it is
people use it as a buzzword for selling products. So could you like define exactly, I know that might sound like very beginner, but like what does really like balancing your hormones mean like from a like blood work standpoint?
So yeah, it definitely doesn't mean getting them all the same level.
Yes, I think that's what a lot of people think.
We think when we hear the word balance. So yeah, I get why that can have confusion. But what I really mean by that is having your estrogen, progesterone, testosterone rise and peak at the correct times throughout the course of the month.
Okay.
In order to have ovulation and your period. So yeah, some parts of the month your estrogen is going to be higher than others, and that's fine. But like I said, it's an orchestra. Like everything needs to be doing what it needs to do at the right time. And that also goes for insulin and cortisol. Those are going to rise and fall at different points throughout the day, and that's fine. That's normal. Like that's a healthy stress response. That's a healthy blood sugar. But we just want to avoid things doing what they're not supposed to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, too, to add on to that, and this is definitely like not as well, I guess it is equally important maybe, but like when you get your blood work done, if you guys have ever seen like those sliding scales that like your blood work comes down, so it'd be like the low side of your estrogen is this and high is this, and like making sure you're in those ranges too. So like that's another example of like making sure your hormones are like balanced or like in the right spot. Like I know for me, I'm naturally really low in estrogen. Like I'm on the lowest, like here's the range, here's me, like on the low side. So also making sure that you physically are like in those healthy ranges. And then now that you know you're in those healthy ranges, taking what Morgan is saying to being like, okay, how can we make sure that they are rising and falling at the same time and staying in the ranges and continuing to like play that cycle?
Yeah, for sure. And if they aren't in those ranges and they're not rising and falling, you're going to feel it when you get your period or the week before your period. So. Yeah. So again, another lifestyle tip, of course, is going to be managing stress, which I know looks different for everyone. But if you are someone that has a super high stress job, making sure you're taking the time to like implement those routines and things that you can go to help calm things down. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but it is so important when it comes to hormone balance because cortisol obviously plays a role.
Yeah, I do really want to stress that one though, because one of my best friends, she's an amazing person, and she she started working at the beginning of the year, literally 3 full-time jobs pretty much, plus going to school. It was insane.
How does she even have time for that?
I don't know. Well, I'm sorry. She was working like 2 full-time jobs and then a part-time job and then going to school. So like basically let's just call it like 3 full-time jobs. So stressed, and she is so burnt out right now. I just feel so awful for her. But like she came over the other day and we were talking, and I'm like, look, like you could take an hour out of your day to go on a walk or go to the gym or something. And it's like, when you guys feel so stressed, you can always find some time to build something into your schedule that gives you some type of relief. And going to the gym, I know that's something that I love to do. I know you love yoga, Pilates, things like that. Like, any type of exercise really should be the first line of defense, in my opinion, for like managing stress and like mental health, because it does give you that release. It gives you something to focus on. When you're moving your body, you're just like being able to push all that anger out, like all the stress out, and it like gives you that time in your own brain to like, well, you're not sitting there. I feel like sometimes we sit there in silence and like we ruminate on like bad thoughts, or like not bad thoughts, but like bad thoughts about ourselves, or like overthinking about certain things, or like whatever it might be. Or like being down on ourselves, like we use like time of like quietness to like beat up on ourselves, or, you know, whatever. I know I have a really hard time sitting in quiet. Like, I just think I'm lazy and stuff like that. But really, in order to manage stress, like I go to the gym, I work that off in the gym. And not only do I have the physical benefits of it, but the mental benefits of like, just find time in your day to exercise, even if it means to get up before you go to work, even if it means after work, you're not gonna be home right at 5:30, you're gonna be home at 6:30. Like, you can do it. You can find that extra little time in your day to do some type of activity, because that really does help manage stress.
For sure. Even just like going for a walk on your lunch break can help.
I do that almost every day.
It's so crazy what it can do.
Yep.
All right, next tip for, wait, hold on, let me re-say that. Okay, next tip for helping with PMS is going to be gentle movement during your late luteal phase. We already talked about this in our cycle syncing episode, but when you are about to get your period, just kind of like being a little bit more gentle with yourself and not overtraining, which goes into my next tip, avoid overtraining. And you kind of already spoke about this, but that is going to make those period symptoms worse, unfortunately. So I don't know if you want to speak any more on that, but
yeah, I think there's a key difference here of for like my workout gals, it is very unlikely that you are going to overtrain your muscles. Like these girls, like for example, there was a study, not a study, but there was like this whole thing done, like this one bodybuilding coach, about these girls in Brazil. They are training their legs insanity 4 times a week. Like, literally, if one of us did one of their workouts, we wouldn't be walking the next day. And these girls are still building their legs and building their legs and building their legs. So like, it is very difficult to actually overtrain your muscle. But you also have to remember that there's different parts of your body. There's your nervous system, their muscular system, and so your nervous system, you can overstimulate and overtrain your nervous system for sure.
Yeah. We should honestly do a whole episode on nervous system and managing stress. But
that would be fun.
I guess when I say overtraining, I more so mean like, say you do have a really high stress job, high stress lifestyle. Maybe a high intensity HIIT workout at 6 a.m. is not what's going to be best for you at that time if you're dealing with severe PMS.
Yeah.
So. And then also limiting alcohol and caffeine. These both obviously affect so many different systems in the body and can contribute to worse PMS symptoms.
We
especially
are going to do a whole episode on alcohol. I just decided
we need to. Okay.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Yeah, it's crazy how normalized it is, but it's just the reality, I guess. Okay, next is going to be avoiding toxins, and I don't just mean, when you hear the word toxins, you think it's like super serious, but guys, there are toxins in your everyday life. They're in your food, they're in the water, they're in the air that you're breathing, they're in the personal care products that you're slathering all over your face and your body, they're in your cleaning products, and these all have ingredients that are endocrine disrupting, which what I mean by that is hormone disrupting, and they have estrogen mimicking ingredients that can, like I said, trick your body into thinking that you have more estrogen, and then that's going to just throw things off. So trying to switch to more natural products, I know it can be overwhelming at first, but I have a lot of tips about that on my Instagram and TikTok if you guys want to check it out. Shop Sacred Skin Tallow, shameless plug. But yeah, just trying to make a switch to more natural products and reading ingredient labels, eating more whole foods, all of that goes into avoiding toxins.
Well, and I love how you talk about it, because like you acknowledge, like you already said, like there's toxins all around us. We can't avoid all of them. And I think that's sometimes people are, and I hate this argument, they're like, well, they're everywhere, so me just like switching this isn't going to do anything. And I'm like, Okay, but actually it is. Like, you have to, my coach always says, you have to be able to control your variables. He doesn't say that about toxins, he says that about other things. But it makes sense in this case of, like, you have to be able to control your variables. If you're, like, we live in a world that we know that toxins and chemicals and, like, our things are not made the most healthy. So, like, what can we do to have a small impact, like, on our own selves, you know, to, like, really help in those areas? So, yeah, I really make sure I'm paying attention to a lot of those things.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. I just made a whole TikTok about this because as someone in the holistic wellness space, I get a lot of people saying like, well, I'm going to die anyways, so why would I go to all that
hate
effort?
that argument.
I'm like,
It's so
okay, have you
dumb.
ever heard of quality of life though? Like, don't you want to have mobility and be able to
And like,
have a long, happy life?
And like, let's be honest, why even comment? Like, we can, like, I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole, but it's like, you're gonna listen to the things that like you believe in and you feel educated from, and like the things that you're passionate about. Like example, I just did a video the other day of me like prepping all my meals for a week to go on my work trip. Someone commented, "This is so excessive." Maybe it's excessive to you, but like it's my normal. Like, why do you even have to comment? If you're not like in the space and you don't care about these things, then like your comments are irrelevant anyways.
And they should have just kept on scrolling. Like,
yeah, that's what I always do. Anyways, sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. But okay, next is going to be rest when you need it. Again, we already talked about this in the cycle syncing episode, but when you are like pushing against your body so hard, it is going to make PMS worse. Think of your period as like a report card for the previous 90 days. If you were super stressed, I even notice it. If I had a really stressful month, my period is a lot more heavy, painful. So just like thinking about these things throughout the month because it is a report card, like I said.
Yeah, so you used to tell me that all the time. And when I was on birth control, and maybe some of you guys have experienced this, my period symptoms were very predictable. It was the same exact thing every single month. And I like never experienced like, it was the same pain every month. It was the same, like there was no difference. It didn't matter if I was extra stressed, not stressed, nothing. It did not matter. It was the same thing, but that's because I was on birth control.
Right.
And you used to always tell me like, your period is your report card. Well, then once I got off birth control, I didn't get a period for like maybe 6 or 7 months, and then I started getting my period. And when I started getting my period, like naturally having it without the birth control and actually having my body have a period, that's when I noticed it. And I'll never forget the period I had before our wedding. Like 3 weeks before our wedding, I literally left work on lunch and I was crying in the CVS parking lot because I was in so much pain, and all I could think about was like you saying your period is a reflection of like the last like 2 or 3 months or like whatever the golden rule there is. And I'm like, that makes so much sense because I have been so stressed, running myself to the ground, and now I feel like I'm 16 again, getting my period, and I can barely move because I'm in so much pain. So it's like, I didn't notice it. Yeah. I didn't notice it when I was on birth control, obviously, because like so predictable. But once I got off, I noticed it. My symptoms would change kind of, and I could even say like, oh, I know if this happens. Like it got to a point where it like, the symptoms were not the same every month, but like I know how severe that they would be if like certain things took place.
Yeah, it's a real thing, you guys. I'm telling you.
It's wild. It's wild.
So that is all the tips I have. So just to wrap up, again, hormonal imbalance, PMS symptoms, while they are common, they are not normal. So we hope this episode helped you guys just become, again, more aware and more educated to help yourself out during these times of the month. And I'm not coming here to say that you have to do all these things and be perfect. Like, I know how hard it is. I've been on my own journey for the last 4 years, so I recognize how challenging it is, but it does make a difference. So just have some compassion for yourself. We have to do a lot to stay healthy these days, so give yourself grace. You know, we're all doing our best, and like I said, we just give you guys these tips to help you become aware.
And to just kind of add on that, everything that Morgan and I speak about are things that we either heavily researched ourselves, we have personally experienced, or from a coaching perspective have seen for ourselves. So a lot of what we're saying is really coming from real life experiences, because a lot of the stuff we research, we try or we implement or whatever it might be. And so, yes, we are not doctors, right? Not that you need to be to do any to talk about any of this stuff, but just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
Like, we're not, you know, the most biggest experts in these spaces, but we're giving you guys information that like has worked for real women.
Yes.
And personally for ourselves, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it or believing in it. So I really enjoyed this episode. I hope that you guys did too. Please make sure you comment, like, subscribe, give us a rating, and rate us 5 stars on podcasts. It really helps support this podcast and allows us to do more episodes, bring in guests, things like that. So we hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to catch up on all of our other episodes that we've done in the past, and we'll see you soon.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.